Good evening, everyone. This is your boy AK here. With me are so many wonderful men, so many proud Nigerians, passionate Nigerians that live in various parts of the world. But we've come back today again to discuss the same topic we discussed in the first show number one. Can Igbo land develop under the current political structure in Nigeria? As we all know, Nigeria is running a kind of it's a federation of 36 states. And there has been call in recent years for autonomy. But the question we want to ask today is, do we need to wait for autonomy to come before we kind of develop our region, or do we need to start doing something now? So with me on the panel are Isidore, who I discussed with last week, myself, and I will let the other participants introduce themselves. So Mr. Engineer, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is, like rightly said, Engineer Mosu. I'm a Nigerian from Abia State. I live in Newcastle with my family. Yeah. I'm a practicing lawyer.
Yeah, just for those of you that don't know, Engineer was one of the presidential aspirants in the last concluded presidential elections in Nigeria. So, it's nice having you on the show. So, Mr. Stanley, can you please introduce yourself? Yeah.
My name is Stanley Enyine. I live in Croydon, and I work with the local authority here. I've been working with them for about 12 years now. So I work with the government here, but I'm from Abia State, and I would say that home is where the heart and mind is, and whatever happens here, we still want to at some point pick up our bag and go home to get back to our country where we come from. And we want to do that sooner rather than later, because we have to, give back when we're quite active, not as a pensioner.
Okay. Thank you, Stanley. Stanley, for those of you that don't know where Croydon is, Stanley lives in London. He's a Londoner in the United Kingdom. So over to you, John. John, can you tell us about yourself briefly, and so that we can kick off the show?
My name is Thompson John Engineer. When I got this, I said, is it a meeting of engineers? And I live in Lagos. I'm a practicing journalist and a safety reporter, HSC reporter in Nigeria.
Well done, John. Thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen, for having you here. It's actually a pleasure to get these wonderful men to, who are passionate about our country, to discuss about our country. So, I would, Barrister Engineer, rightly, I would like to start with you. Do you believe that the Igbo states can develop under the current political structure in Nigeria, or do we need a kind of autonomy? Just to give you some insight, the Igbo states, some big boys in Igbo land came together a couple of years ago and created the Southeast Development Commission, and that is headed by I think Pascal Dozie is one of the Bathon Naj is the chairman. Board members the members are Alex Oti, Pascal Dozier, and so many other big boys in Igbo land. But if you do a research about them, you find that they are not. I think the whole thing has just piped low. Nothing is happening more again. And if you see last, I think 2 or 3 years ago, Dr. Stella Odua introduced them to the House, a bill to establish the Southeast Development Commission. It has passed the second reading, but we don't know how far that has gone. But the question now is, do we wait for these things to come from the federal government, or do we start looking inwardly within the region to come up with how to develop our region?
Right. Yes. Thank you, AK. The first thing is that there's a saying in my place that it's only a dead man that you will tell that he will die tomorrow and he will remain at the same place. I don't think it might be a step in the right direction, but I also think that we need to project ourselves. We know what we want. Now, you rightly said they set up, they're trying to set up, or that they set up an Eastern Development Commission. Now, no matter how nice that may appear, until there is a will to do that, and it's not something Abuja is going to do for us. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, that stops the 5 Eastern governors to set up an independent Eastern Development Commission. It might not be a commission for the sake of the name, but give it a name. It might be a committee.
Sorry to just give you some light in that. They were part of the, though it was private sector driven, but they were part of the governors. The governors attended that. They've attended part of their part of their conferences. They've been part of it, but it's like the thing has died down. Yeah.
Yeah, but what is the commitment? The governors attending and the governors participating are two different things, and the commitment as a region. If what I'm proposing, what I had something like that, I have a little paper I made on that sometime, and the proposal was for the 5 eastern states to form, by whatever name they want to call it, an Eastern Development Committee, Commission, or something. It has to be independent of the government, but should be funded by the state government. Nothing to do with Abuja. No permission is needed to set that up.
Can I come in
now?
there?
This is an internal. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, my brother Enyina, for setting the pace rightly. Excuse me. The question you asked is that can Southeast Igbo states function without the center, is that correct?
No. The question is, can we develop under the current political structure?
Can we develop
everything
under
is, or can we come together as a region to develop to discuss or come up with ways to develop ourselves?
Homegrown solution.
Yeah. So what I want to add is what Enyina have already said, which is you shouldn't wait for an outsider to come and fix your home. If you live in a property and there's a leak, you just don't need anybody else to start dealing with the problem. Yes, friends can come and later on, but you need to get a bucket to put underneath where the leak is coming from so that other parts of the building will not soil. What I'm saying in essence is that the Southeast leaders, not the politicians, need to come together. And as I said earlier, there must be a political will, because the politicians are the ones that have got the power. Individuals can make whatever proposal they want to put in place, but without political will, that cannot be driven forward. So they need to get together. Yes, it can work. It can work perfectly well, but we need the political will from all the states from the Southeast. Then the leaders, Ohaneze, whatever forum they are from, can come together, then get whatever vision and whatever they want to achieve under one roof and agree.
No, I don't even think we should be getting into a Ohaneze group and all that. It's Ohaneze, I think, is more of a social cultural group or whatever. Yeah. But what I was trying to say is that if the Eastern governors come together and work out an internal arrangement where they can say every month 1% of our budget goes into the central purse. This central purse can be used to build a ring road connecting the whole East. It can be used to build a railway system connecting the whole East. And now, because of the capacity and the business this might bring about, you will see that even the
the private sector would,
yes, and people can begin to come into a plan. Now, it's the job of the federal government to do this. I mean, the Eastern region is part and parcel of Nigeria, okay? Now, even in the north, where they have something like that, it's still being sponsored by the federal government. What we don't have is the love of the federal government, no matter how.
Yeah, because the president hasn't approved that bill yet. The
Yes.
bill,
I think,
the president has
yeah.
approved. So, can Mr. Isidore, can you jump in there and give your thought on this?
So, obviously, the last time we had this conversation, people came back to me and people told me that did I not understand what Ekerson was asking. I told them I do. The problem there is that everybody approach issues from their area of background and expertise, right? So a civil engineer would look at the interconnection of roads, right, as a solution because there is economic benefits to that, right? A medical doctor will talk about if people are not alive, then they are not going to be around to support your development. A politician will tell you everything caused by political will, right? So me as a system engineer, how we look at this thing is we say, okay, everything you want to do, right? They are all good. Every idea you bring is all good, but we talk about which one is the most probable, which one is the most practical, right? So to give you an example, like we are talking about coming together now and having a regional agenda. Remember,
Yes.
we had a threat of security, and Amoteku was formed. Don't forget.
Yeah.
But if you notice recently, nobody is hearing about Amoteku anymore, right? Nobody's talking about it. It's not they're not working, but no, it's no more the noise it came out to be. You know why that happened? My investigation showed that when the Nigerian government, the Northerners, in charge of power now, when they now threatened, right, to dredge the Niger River and now start redirecting cargo to southeast and south ports, that was it. That was when our southwest brothers, toned down the Amoteku stuff, right? So the reason why I'm saying this is that we have to understand. If you remember in the last conversation we had, I talked about top down. And
yeah, but I want you to be, let viewers know what you mean by top down. So by top down, you mean from region down, and bottom up, you mean from the states. Yeah.
So what I mean by top down is that you can come out and say, okay, this is what we are going to do, a vision. Then you let the people, you let the contributing components, you create every person works towards that goal, right? That's top down vision. The vision, you say we want to go in this direction, then everybody follows you and go in that direction.
Are you talking about from the regional perspective, or from the state?
It's not necessarily, okay, Vision 2020 was a top-down vision. This is who we want to be. Yeah. Somebody can tell you that some components of that Vision 2020 was achieved. Some people may beg to differ. But what I'm telling you, but what we have not been doing, my observation in Nigeria is that I grew up there and I'm also here, I can see. They don't do bottom-up, right? We don't do things mostly from where people are, people's strengths, right? So think about it. I know Mogalo spoke so eloquently. He addressed most of the issues from economic and political standpoint, but nobody voted for him. You need to understand, politics is a very big fact in every room where we want to discuss our development. So my approach is this: are there other methods of achieving this development can be pursued without talking about politics? Because politics is a failure. It's a failure point for us. But that's why I always say there are some countries who still have the same political problems we have, but somehow they happen to achieve development to the extent that the whole world respects them. Nobody in the world talks about China politics. Meanwhile, they have Tiananmen Square. They also have Hong Kong issue going on now, right? China cohesion is still being fought for, but that's not what the world knows.
So what's your point now? What do you mean that we should go from the states? The states should be
we need to do an audit. We need to do an audit of our strengths in Igbo land, right? In our land, you can call it in the.
So is it at the regional level or do the states?
No, wait, hold on. What I'm telling you, you need to identify our strengths first, like, count whatever you have. Then you come out and say, in these areas where we are, which arm of government, like which level of government can directly impact these people? You see that now? So when we do that, it becomes easy for us to have what we call direct impact. A woman that is going to the farm right, that has the experience, that has people to farm. The woman can tell you, hey, we've been doing this thing for a long time. The governor of that state may not directly impact that woman. The federal government may not directly impact that woman. But the local government person or the community politician there can go and have a way to empower that woman. The same way with people who make shoes. The same way with people who do electronics. The same way with people who do every form of skill.
So how do we get this development? I mean, if you can go straight to the point, how do we go
first we need to go and count what our people are doing today. I went to my village 3 years ago to inspect our house we are building there. But nostalgia, right? I want to go to that river because I have not been there for a long time. And I got there. I saw the bridge connecting Umuahia and Mbise, which is Imo and Abia. Don't forget. That bridge was built there because of the war. It was used to allow troops to pass there and enter our region. But since after the war, they abandoned that bridge. Meanwhile, that's a federal Niger River basin, that Imo River. But you know what I noticed?
No, we don't have all the time. Can you just
I think.
So what I noticed was that I round up. What I noticed was that I saw like 30 young men. Those boys will go inside the river.
Yeah.
Come out with sand.
Yeah.
Right. They're happy where they are. So now, if you go other places, finding those kind of people who are dedicated to what they do is hard. If those people wanted to leave, they will leave. They don't want to leave. So we need to go back there, give them equipment, and now find out. Yeah, that's what I mean by whatever people are good at, keep building those industries because that's actually the same.
So who will be doing that? Who will be doing that? You mean individuals? Is it individuals or?
No, let us articulate them first. They call it capacity. You need to know your capacity and capability.
Who will be doing the capacity assessment?
It's an audit. Anybody can do the audit.
Okay, John, can you jump in, please?
Go ahead.
Yes, please. I think I've been able to have the privilege of listening to the discussions and the area, but we have to understand the question very well.
Yeah.
Can Igbo states develop under the current structure?
Yes.
Is there any other structure that we are looking for that we can, be able to develop? But I want to put it straight that under the current structure, we can develop.
Okay.
But the question and the problem we have is the players.
Constraints.
Who are the players under the current structure? I've been able to understand what my brothers are saying. They are concerning the development, whether it's something that can come from within us,
yes,
or something we have to be waiting for the federal government, this federal government. That.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that we are here. I'm here in Lagos. I think I've had the privilege of going around this country and walking around this country. And coming down to our people, my fear and where we should have our concern are the people that we call our leaders. In our own region, I think we are not so blessed with people who understand the vision of how our people can be harnessed. Igbo people are unique people. Somebody telling me that Igbo man needs federal government this or that to develop himself, I think it's not understanding the Igbo life, the Igbo culture,
spirit,
or the Igbo spirit. It's not understanding it well enough. An Igbo man can develop under any situation. What we need to have is a rallying point. I think this very discussion is coming up this is the most ample time that I think this discussion is coming up, because personally, I have a project that I'm running, but that is why I'm running around now on this very issue. I kickstarted the project in 2009 or 2010, thereabout, with a liaison officer in Anambra State regarding the Development Trust Fund, Igbo Development Trust Fund, with a woman. I think the woman was the former liaison officer, Anambra State liaison officer in Lagos then. But the woman said she cannot move it, that we need to get other people involved. I'm a small fry, a small rat. It's not that those ideas, our Igbo brothers, our Igbo billionaires do not have them. One of the things we need to understand, and one of the things God blessed us with, is that in Igbo land, we have our little millions here and there, which we only need to harness and put it together. I can tell somebody that when we are talking about the development of this country and somebody is saying that we are not developed and all that, If you go around, I did a study in 2017, December. I went around some villages in the Southwest during the December period to understand how they are spending their money and how money comes into that place. In the core villages in the Southwest, I discovered that they were so in ardent poverty. I went to the North. I left the North to the East. When I got to the East, I understand that our people, money is not a problem. When you try to see how development can be achieved, it's when you get to the people who are in the rural areas. I can tell you something that people who are in the rural areas can tell you, and they might be calling you abroad, I might be calling you that they don't have money, they've not been able to do this, they've not been able to do that. But you see them building houses. You see them eating the kind of food that you there, if not because, some things come cheaper in some other parts of the country, that they can afford. Then taking it from that angle, you ask yourself, what is holding us? Our roads are bad. It's as if any government that comes into power would like to dangle the construction of Niger Bridge as a kind of carrot to us. Everybody moves in that direction. But we don't need those things. What we need is to come home.
So what do we do, John? What do we do? Yeah. How can we develop under this current political structure?
How we can do that? Somebody mentioned Ohanese. Someone here said Ohanese is a socio-cultural group. But the first point is that, is Ohanese a rallying point? Do we have Igbos that can come together? Does Ohanese has town unions that it controls? The answer is yes. Now, if and only if we can be able to detach, because socio-cultural life of an Igbo man tends towards his economy, and he needs also to fend for himself. If we can be able to say, we can identify some of these areas, like in the businesses and some of the things that we can do for ourselves in the Southeast, and we say, okay, if anybody can come under the umbrella, we have Aki Ikenga, we have Igbo professionals, we have Ohanese. Can they come together? Can we just say, let us drive this common fund together, pool our resources and our funds together, identify the key areas that we can be able to develop? Is it the area of manufacturing? Is it the area of industry? Is it industrial parks and all that?
John, sorry, can I just jump in briefly? Can I jump in briefly?
Mr. John, just let me jump in a bit about that Ohanese thing, just to clarify that point.
Yeah.
Now, what I mean by what I'm proposing, when I say Eastern Development Commission or whatever name it will be, why I said it would not rhyme with Ohanese setting or these other organizations you've mentioned now. The idea I have in my head is an organization like Transcorp. You remember what Obasanjo set up at the national level that involved is it Emeko for, is it Otedola? There was this translational something. There was an organization that was set up. It was a real business organization. Yes, it was a registered. Yes, it was a registered business organization, a registered company. So it's not a social organization, a social cultural organization, or the state government. Or this, what I mean is register a company, okay, which will be. You get the idea of what I'm talking now.
I got the idea of what you're saying, but let me. The challenge that we are having there, and the challenge we have there, is the political interest. For me, like I have currently one now that I'm running, and I want to push it through on Ohanese, and I don't want government officials in it.
Yeah, that's
my own.
I was coming to that.
Yes,
I was coming to that. In my proposal, I was going to say that this commission is not going to be headed by government. That's why I tried to throw light on what organization I'm trying to derive strength from.
What I'm trying to say under this structure is just to simplify it. Let us have a development trust fund. Detach it from government control. In fact, you don't need money from government. Let them do their job. Let them do why we voted them to do their job. Let them do their job.
So where do you generate money from?
Yes. No. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is the question. I can assure you that.
Sorry, John. Before you continue, can I let Stanley? Stanley, can you jump in?
Okay.
I'm trying to align with John more than anybody, because what I'm trying to say is, one, we need to have a development, whatever name you want to call it. I understand that I've got problem with Ohanese because of being social political, but we need to first of all identify who will be in that forum. Then what are we trying to achieve? How are we going to sell it? Once we identify those people, then we have to target them, because if we have a group and those eminent people are in that group and we make it attractive, then what we are going to do is look for how to raise money. There are so many other ways of getting money. Apart from individual donations, there are companies that are in Igbo lands that want to be part, organizations that want to donate towards it.
I can tell you that.
And once we have that well-established development organization, whatever you want to call it, you will see that those politicians, because they will want to be a party to that, they want to be part of it, so they will want to also find a way to come around.
Sorry, if I can come in here, I have done I did a story before we did this. The Southeast Development Commission is private sector driven. It's not and it's headed by very good, very
yes,
good businessmen from the Southeast. So I've looked at them, Barton Naji, Pascal Dozier, Alex Oti, and many of them, but they know that they cannot achieve this without the government's participation. So I know I'm moderating, because but my own contribution, if I can finish, you can let me finish this. So my own contribution to this is that I believe that they've established a commission already with a purpose. But why it died down is what I don't know. So what we need to do is that we need to start talking to them, or encouraging them to go back to the governors. It doesn't stop whatever they are doing at the regional level.
That's why I said to you, whatever they are doing, there must be a political will.
Yeah, there must be political will.
If there's no political will, they will kill it completely. And you know how these politicians, the crop of politicians we have, they are ruthless. They will go to every length. So all I'm saying is that I want to come in.
Can you jump in briefly?
So I think what I want to identify is that
John, can you let Isdor jump in?
Okay.
So what I've been listening to you guys, and I think let us just agree that we believe that there should be political will.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so I don't think there is any point of flogging that. Now we will now look at what is the component of that political will. That's what where we are now. However, you may say something about a development agenda, which is private sector driven in Southeast now, right? And we also know that Dangote is building a refinery, right, at Bebe or so in Lagos State, right? Okay, so here, how about you see it this way? How about we identify a problem that every Nigerian recognizes that this problem really needs to be solved, right? And we say, like I keep talking about bottom-up. This is a bottom-up approach. We just take it upon ourselves and gather people in the Southeast who can actually solve this problem. And then we package that solution, right, to investors. The reason why I'm saying this is this. Make no mistakes, we don't need any group coming together to contribute money. We don't need to lobby anybody for money. All we need to do is to show somebody end to end. And when we show some, don't forget, there's a difference between capability and capacity. So when you show capability to solve a problem, then people who have money give you capability. That's when I talk about capacity. That's when I talk about pouring gasoline on a small candle, then it blows up. So today, we have several of our youths scattered all over the world who are engineers. I have 2 or 3 of my boys here, who are nuclear energy engineers, and I have scientists here. I have correct engineers, not just fake engineers. These are all first class. In my neighborhood here, the overall best student in Futo, so far, first class, he lives with me here, and we are working on several projects. We go to Nigeria, we identify a problem, we solve that problem. I've packaged myself in such a way I can sit in front of any investor and tell that investor how we will give that problem an international solution. So it is very, why I'm saying this is that you will never hear me talk about politics unless I am venting. Because I know
can I just come in there, because there are a few things you cannot do without the authorization of the governors.
Yes.
You cannot come into the estate and establish. There are things you cannot establish without them signing it off.
Okay, sorry.
Can I just jump in a little here? Remember businesses don't exist in space. Businesses exist within an environment. And when I'm talking about an environment, within a political environment, within an economic environment, within a social environment, within a technological environment, or even within a legal environment.
So let's talk about Innoson. Let's talk about Innoson. Innoson is making cars in Nigeria, right? Yes. Chinese companies, international companies are bringing resources they have. They want to get in on the business. And most times when Toyota, Ford Motor, GM Motors bid for contract, Innoson bids. And when they win the contract, Innoson wins. But the next time, Innoson wins. Listen to me. Innoson is as an example of what I am telling you. I am saying Innoson is just a microcosm of who a real Igbo man is. Innoson does not need your money. And so, banks are throwing money at Innoson as long as he is delivering results. This is one thing I want to understand. So can we, there's a political component to whatever we are doing. But the problem here is that we haven't talked about the capability component. We keep saying we are this. What have Igbo people come together to say they manufacture, right? That they can give to Nigeria, even Africa. Meanwhile, we have the capability to do this. We have we have the brains. What I'm saying is that let us separate this into two. Let the people who will do the political work continue. But I need an aggregation of intellectuals to come together to say you are part of this, and I learned that.
Thank you.
And I'm trying to let you guys know this thing. In 2014, when I came to Canada to do my master's in engineering management, I saw 4 Chinese students. They were part of my project. They came and presented their car, and their car was Zonghua. The lecturer gave them A, but told them that they will sell that car in China, but they should forget North America. But he commended their effort. Those guys told me that Chinese government told them to come and paid for everything because they had brains. I paid for my own tuition. There are so many of our young people who are here. They are struggling to pay tuition. Let us identify all of them and equip them and say, hey, you work on this project because you're part of this. It's not even espionage. And whenever you're doing a research,
let me jump in there. I think I
understand
where you're coming from.
I was about to round up. Wait a minute. Whenever you're doing a research, right, which I have done last 4 years, my biomedical engineering, whenever you're doing a research, you are also part owner of any patent and intellectual property arising from your research. So all these our students you see now that have graduated, they already contributed to some intellectual knowledge that is being used to build products today. Whenever you give them work to do and say this, if you build,
so how do we harness them? How do we harness them? That is
the question. Get an audit, a register of where are you? What can you do? Which area are you working? You can start.
I think
John, can you jump in?
Yes. Very quickly, please. I think it's like I don't know whether he's studying what I have in mind and what I put down already. The things that we need to do is to identify people like he mentioned Innoson. The thing I'm telling you, I've spoken to Innoson about it personally.
Okay.
He mentioned people like Chikasin. I think Chikasin Motors and all that. Let us identify these people. And there's one thing we need to understand, please. If we can be able to move this, when somebody says that there are some things you can't do without government or you can't do in a space, I think that is untrue. I think that's untrue. I think that's untrue to an extent. Because I have a vast of land that I can donate for any trust fund, any Igbo trust fund, development trust fund that want to use it for, will I call it an industrial park or a Silicon Valley? We want to put there. So if this one is on identifying people abroad, that is what we need to do. Identify people. We have those things. We have those capabilities.
Sorry, can you jump in there?
Forget about what the government is talking about.
Right. You see,
can you jump in?
Yes.
The thing here, it's we know all these things. We know all the problems. But the thing is that when we are throwing all of them at the same spot, we miss it. Okay. Yeah. Now I think where we should be driving at is the question this that Eke has brought out is how can the Igbo progress? Can Igbo progress under this
the current structure? Yeah.
Now, the structure that we have shows clearly that the eastern part is, I don't like that word marginalized, but they're not being treated fairly, okay?
Yeah.
Now
or politically clueless.
Yes, it's
that
a
is
bit,
exactly, that's the right word.
yes.
Okay. Continue, please.
It makes it a little bit difficult for us as the Igbo people to develop, you know, through the national roots. Now that leaves us with one option: self-help.
Yes.
And now Nigeria being what it is, and Africa being what it is, there is basically nothing you can do without government power.
Yes.
That is a big factor.
Because they can frustrate you. They can frustrate you.
Now,
I don't agree. Hold on, I don't agree.
Let him finish, then you jump in. Let him finish. Isdom, can you let him finish so that you jump in?
No, let me
let him finish, then you jump in.
First. No, it's not.
Okay,
we're not talking about the same thing now.
Okay.
Now, when I say government, you can't do anything without government. Okay. Now, there is what is called government patronage. Okay. Even all over the world, it happens. You see, somebody like Innocent, if the Eastern governors have the will and decide that Innocent is going to become like Kia tomorrow, they have the capacity to do that.
Good.
And it's as easy as Abia State, Imo State, Enugu State, Ebonyi State, Anambra State, and say every car that will be bought by the government, every official car will come from Innocent. The federal government cannot say you cannot do this.
I agree with you.
Can I share my experience on Innocent briefly?
Sorry, John, we're going to answer. We're going to go to another question.
Yeah.
We're going to go to another question. Let him finish.
But very quickly.
If they do that,
let him finish his point, then you jump in.
Okay, if they do that, Innocent would expand overnight. Okay. Now the problem why I say private sector cannot really, power it all alone. Innocent as a private man, it's under heavy competition with Tokumbo cars. It's not even in competition with new cars. His cost of production is too high because of his cost of production, he cannot produce cars that average people can buy. And the cars he produces, their standard, I would rather buy a Tokumbo Lexus Jeep.
Sorry, engineer. Sorry, no. I wouldn't let you say that. Can you just continue? I wouldn't let you say that. Yeah.
I think you are getting it. You are getting it.
But if Innocent has patronage, he can now reduce his costs. His cost of production will come down.
Nigerian army. Let me come in there. The Nigerian army are the biggest buyers of Innocent products. Nigerian army, as we speak currently. Innocent Motors were the company that were able to fix these engineers. Local boys from Soka were one of the people that were able to put Nigerian bombers back to air in 2015.
Sorry. Let me bring everyone back to the topic we are discussing. If I understand what you were saying, what you were saying is that we don't need to wait for the government. We can form a group of people who can come together as a group of people, private sector led, and now attract investors to come and develop. Then we can, when we need the government to come in, we come in. Then another question I'm asking you: while we are doing this,
and do development.
Sorry, Mr. Engineer, can you allow me? Once we start the private sector thing, can the Southeast governors still come together and have a regional master plan, like Mr. Engineer said, where they can contribute just 2% or 1%, just like the EU model, where they can contribute 2% of the annual budget? Remember, the private sector thing you are doing cannot build roads. You cannot build roads. You cannot build roads. You cannot provide electricity. You can't build railway. While we are still championing this one, Can't the Southeast governors work together with this established Southeast Development Commission to start to contribute part of their GDP to say, okay, or their annual budget to start building infrastructure at that level?
Okay, so I hear what you're saying. Listen to,
I'm going to let you guys, then we jump on to the next question and close out. Yeah.
So this is a good question. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I am trying to tell you what the people who have succeeded, they are doing, right? So the 2 minutes, 1 minute, let me ask, he talked about nursing, and he said nursing engineers are doing stuff, right? But don't forget, these nursing engineers are in Nigeria, right? Now,
Yes.
but don't forget, there are Igbo engineers who are abroad working in all these companies. So if nursing taps into their resources, the cost of production for nursing, and for those who are saying that nursing cars, quality or whatever, let me tell you, if nursing taps into the resources of the Igbo engineers abroad, the quality of his products will beat that of Toyota. So let's
be like Benz.
Cannot do that because he doesn't have the financial
That's one
capacity.
question. Wait, that's one. No, hold on. I addressed that. I just want you to understand that we are international engineers. So let's put that one by the side. The second one I'm talking, you mentioned something about patronage. As an engineer, like our mentor now, our global mentor now is Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk has proven that, right, if you build the right products, people will buy it.
There'll be a market for it, yeah.
Yeah, Elon Musk has also proven that people that have brains should stop solving problems that are reserved for people who have brains, but not at that same level. There are intelligent people. Their job is to tackle serious world problems, right? Now, he made an electric car, but he said he will make it luxury. Now, everybody wants his car, right?
So what are you saying in terms of Igbo land? How do we bring it down?
What I'm trying to say about Igbo land is that let us not think that patronage is an issue.
Okay.
Let us identify a problem that Nigeria has and engage the right people and say, solve this problem. Investors will come. I keep saying this thing because you can tell raising money has never been an issue for me. It's solving that problem to my own standard, which has to be way and above the average international standard. So we have those capabilities. Start thinking about how do we lure these people to think home. And for anybody that is thinking that I need government to give me land, I don't think so. If I want to buy land in Nigeria today, I'm actually asking people to find land for me where I need in Igbo land.
Chinese are buying off lands in Nigeria.
No,
Chinese.
It's not buying land.
Okay. Can you round up so that we can?
The reason why I'm saying this thing.
See, like why the seaports in Calabar and Port Harcourt are not very functional.
Shaman, I understand what you're saying. I'm trying
Politics.
to explain to you.
No matter the intellect.
Okay, I'm telling you facts.
From outside.
I am telling you facts.
The government decides to frustrate you.
Let me finish.
I think.
Sorry, can you mistake it? Can you let Isdo finish? Isdo, can you round up quickly, please?
I'm trying to round up. I am telling you facts. Some people approach problems from different angles.
Okay.
There is something we call.
So what are you proposing? Isdo?
I'm explaining it. There's something we call end-to-end. Once I see that I can make these products, I am going all over the world to find where I can make it cheap. And there is no way I can make something more expensive, cheaper in North America. I can design it here, but the people that will make it has to be in the East. There are so many of our people who are in this predicament now. So if I bring parts in Nigeria and put it together there, I am creating value. It's cheaper for me.
Sorry, Isdo, if I can ask you a question about what you're saying, remember you're coming up with two approaches. Mistakenly initially was suggesting let the government come together, contribute a certain percent of their GDP and create infrastructure, create an enabling environment for the investors you're talking about, to come in. Do you think that the way Igbo land, our infrastructure is our electricity at the moment, our roads at the moment, do you believe that investors can come in the way it is at the moment and invest? Would you invest in Igbo land without infrastructure if you were an investor?
So investors go to India and build factories, and kids, child labor is happening there. They are selling it in North America. These people don't really care. right? I'm letting you know that.
I mean, roads, basic infrastructure, electricity, and roads.
I know. Listen,
basic.
These things we'll be talking about this. And guy, we are both 40. We're talking about this thing, right?
Good.
There are people that have seen this problem before they overcame it. I'm not talking about it. I've overcome it. I'm not worried. I'm making stuff in Nigeria, making stuff in Lagos, making stuff in the East. I'm telling you that what matters most is brains. And we have them abroad, and we have them in the East. I come out there, I have people working in the field. Now, we need to start letting our people lay hands on what they are good at.
Okay, Mr. Stanley, can you jump in there? Mr. Stanley, can you jump in there?
I think, can I jump in there?
Can you let Mr. Stanley jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Stanley, can you turn on your mic, please? Can you unmute your mic?
Coming on.
John, can you hear me?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, so I said, either you're talking in the context of not Southeast, because what we are saying, we need to be very practical.
Yeah.
You cannot, the type of setting you're talking about, we're not working on it. All I'm saying in essence is that, first of all, once that interest group is created, we need to identify how to attract the people that will make it a very strong organization. We need to make it very attractive so that even the politician will get the buy-in. Nigeria, we left, I don't know how long you've lived abroad, I left about 13 years ago. It's not the same Nigeria.
I was in Nigeria 9 times last year.
Yeah, being there 9 times, you are not in the political scene. So all I'm saying is,
I'm not a politician.
Okay. Sorry, can you finish? Can you finish?
So all I'm saying in essence is that if you don't have the buy-in of these people, you may succeed, but you find it difficult. You may spend triple of what you would have spent. What we need to do is to get people who've got the same view that we have, that have got the resources. Even if they don't have the resources, we can now go around talking about it from community to community and enlighten people. Then we get the buy-in of the politicians. And once they know that the interest group becomes a pressure group, they will get the buy-in and they will come on board. And that's where the debate will stand.
Okay, John, can you jump in?
Having said that, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
It's addressing me and I need to respond.
Okay. No, because we don't have time again. We have 7 minutes to go.
Wait, just 1 minute.
Can you let John continue, please?
Okay.
Yeah, please. I just want to bring out something here. If we look at the system that we have, if we wait for the system to normalize in Igbo land, because I want to be very particular about Igbo land.
Okay.
We will not make any head. We will keep on saying this. Each time I appear on television or radio and talk about these things, I'm getting tired of these things. Let us get something doing. See, defining the narrative and changing the narrative. So if I tell my experience, the experiences I've gotten in talking with these people, how they frustrated. It makes it even discouraging.
Joe, we can't hear you.
In that order is that. What I'm saying, are you hearing me now?
Yes, you're in Nigeria, we know that, so go ahead.
Oh, no,
yes. What I'm saying
was an interference.
Yes, what I'm saying in that order is that anything that has to do with these people, please let us not even disclose it a little too early until we have gotten some formidable people who are there, who can attract the kind of transparency, because in doing such a thing, you need people to believe in you and what the capability of what you can do. Yes. And you also need some kind of, trust surplus in the area of people when they entrust a particular fund, into your hands. Can it move? I can assure you that there are some young billionaires in Nigeria today, some Igbo guys who are our age, who has made money, who did something, they are worried and they are disturbed about what is going on. Yeah. They are kind of dissatisfied with what is going on in Nigeria. They don't want to align with Nnamdi Kanu on one side, but they want to get something defined, what they can do. If we can be able to identify, if we can be able to identify those things as a matter of fact, and I ask these people, you have somebody might bring billion, somebody might bring his expertise, somebody might bring in his own talent or skill and stuff like that. Somebody might bring in his own connection. Somebody might bring his own connection or contact. But for us to say, let us wait for these people, or he mentioned the Southeast Development Commission that was passed into law. I know what they suffered before they could get that passed in the Federal House of Assembly. And I want you to know that every region every region, not outside. In fact, outside people are one of the, every region does not want Igbo to develop. And when we say we are marginalized, we are not. In the real sense of it, we are not. Because our people, if you come to the houses and the lands that you
John, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. Yeah. That's your opinion.
No,
anyway, it's not the opinion
that's my opinion. If you talk about marginalization in political area, you can talk about, but when you talk about marginalization on survival, we are now defining and changing the narrative. If you come to the area of pharmaceuticals, we are there. You come to the area of real estate. You know that Igbos are doing big real estate in the southwest and other parts of the country.
Yes.
We are there.
Yeah,
can we take those things back home? These exploits we are making. I was in Lekki last week, checking out one of somebody who is building real estate. The guy said he's not buying land again in the east, in southwest. I want to start buying in the east. Our people are doing these marvelous things outside of our.
Sorry, Isdor, can you jump in? That will be your last contribution because we need to round up now. Isdor, can you jump in briefly so that Mr. Engineer can?
So my last contribution was to give you guys an idea that I've always had this thing in my mind, right? This is my 16 years in Canada now, and I believe I paid my dues here. We're all going back home. 3 years ago, Innocent, to address the people that say we need police, the Nigerian government will frustrate anybody's plan. Innocent, Nigerian government came after Innocent, right? It got to the point where a policeman slapped his wife. Okay, so for you to know, we took it up that day, and we did a video. I did a video. My video got over 100,000 views, and we said that everybody felt they should release Innocent, and that for that bank that colluded with the government, right, to do what they did, we will show them now that our generation is not down for nonsense. And we asked everybody to withdraw their money. And we did that. And there was a bank run on them. Yeah. So we have our own power. We have power.
Yes.
To understand that.
Sorry, can you let Isdor continue, please?
So what we need to understand is, I can only speak for myself. And I did my video. I'm not affiliated to anybody, but because I knew what Innocent stood for and what he believed. If something happened to Innocent,
so how do we? What's your last contribution? How do we move Igbo land forward?
If something happened to Innocent, the projects I'm working on now, I would be afraid that government will do something to me. Yeah. So that thing doesn't exist. The consciousness is there. So, but what I'm saying, moving forward, you did this podcast, the first one. It was only you and I. Today, there is roughly 5 of us here.
Yeah. We are 5, not roughly. We are 5.
Okay,
that's what I wanted to say.
So that shows potential is there. That's why I say pour gasoline there and let it blow up. So let us go in the east. Let us go in, send out, form group, whatever. But let it be that we need all the intellectuals, Igbo intellectuals all over the world. Identify yourself and identify things you want to do. Just identify it. If it's a cluster, start. We aggregate them, we collate them, and we start. And I assure you, this your governors you're talking about will come and be taking pictures.
We'll come after it. Yes.
I'm telling you, when I open my maker,
that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Isdor, thank you so much for that contribution. Mr. Engineer, can you contribute and your last comment, please?
Right. Again, I'll go back to your question.
Yes.
Now, why are the Igbos in Lagos, in Kano, in Abuja that are building estates, companies, why are they not building it in Igbo land?
Nearness to market.
Question.
Nearness to market.
Now, good. Now, how do you create that market to attract them, to bring them home? Now, these are the developments.
Sorry, let him.
Go ahead.
These are the development. These are the necessary things that needs to what is called development. Development, private sector development is different.
1 minute. Let me fast. Go ahead.
One marries the other. Okay. Now, when we are talking about what I'm proposing is first a private participation. Okay, with government buying the shares in this company. Okay, it's a limited liability company. Okay, now this company that will be registered will be like
Isdor, sanitize that thing before you use it.
Now this company is not a social organization. It's not an Igbo thing. It's an international, reputable company. Okay? And their mandate from the state government and perhaps the goodwill of Ohanese to this company is revolutionized Igbo. Look at what we want. We want in 12 years or in 10 years, we want railway system around the whole Igbo states. We need a ring road in the whole of the East. We want
so are you talking about a company or a commission? Are you talking about a commission, a kind of commission?
Just call it an organization for now.
It's a limited,
an interest group.
Call it an organization for
now. There are things the government cannot do, but the government can pay in their money into a private company, which is now different from the state government, but it's acting. It becomes a company of that state. That is why Obasanjo's government was supposed to succeeded in the business aspect, because that Transcorp was able to buy up a lot of companies and became powerful. It was about the strongest organization, private business organization in Africa as at that time. Now, there is no way that before
30 seconds, can you round up, Mr. Engineer?
Yeah, so if we are thinking of, if our problem is not that there are no brains here, bringing brains here, no. One thing we have to do before, there are things you have to set in place before businesses can come to the East. You know, if the shipping ports in Port Harcourt and Calabar starts working, half of Lagos will be drawn to the East. So these are things that we need to put in place. You don't count 2 before you count 3. You know, you don't count 3 before you count 2. The government has to set these structures, and the government cannot do some of these things because of the corruption and all that. It has to be by a private sector, you know, but with government shares.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Engineer. Thank you, Mr. Engineer. Stanley, can you please?
I think I need to round off.
Oh, John, you're going to be the last person. Stanley, can you just jump in and give your last closing statement?
The most important thing is that we started the conversation, and we have to keep the conversation going. We've identified where the problem lies. So what we need to do is also to get people who have got the same view on board with us. Once we go on board, we now start to plan how we can now start making impact, because we've identified there's a problem. Then when we get the right people in the audience, we now look at the solution.
We are the right people. We are the right people. Maybe we get additional brains to
additional people on board. Then we'll look at how to get answer to those questions, those problems, how to solve them. Then by solving them, we're now making where we come from better. But before we go, I must add this: those ones at the center, at the federal level, need to make sure that they start speaking up to attract that devolution. There's something engineers say which is very, very key. If the ports at Calabar and Port Harcourt are all working, we will not be in the situation we are. It's really, really affecting us adversely. So that needs to be addressed. Those ones at the center, those federal ones, they need to start speaking up on behalf of us. That's not happening. We're only hearing only one voice. We need to hear more from them. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Stanley. John, can you throw in your last word, please?
Okay, thank you very much. I like to commend the convener of this very wonderful platform. And again, I want to align with what Isidore was saying there. I don't want to discourage anyone that is doing anything that is doing, maybe talking to the government or pleading with them, but let us come together. This is no longer time for us. There's no longer time there on our side as a nation or as a country. If we begin to wait for some other parts of the country to come at par with what or the brains that we have, I think it will take us ages. And if we look at the political, which is why I said under this structure, I said yes, but the players, the people who are the players, if we look at them, if we wait for our political leaders as it is today to champion this thing, it will take us a century. What I want us to do, and my own take home there, is that let us begin to identify, like you mentioned there, that we are the right people here. We can as well, get other people on board. Let us begin to identify people that has the skill, that has the connection, that has the contacts. Let us begin to galvanize and harness the ideas that we have together and present it. Yes, be prepared. We are going to have hiccups. We are going to have attacks. We are going to have it here and there. But let it be rest assured now that we're going to have these things. So we need to be able to fortify ourselves so that we can be able to move forward and know where we are going. Which areas are we identifying? Are we going to build roads? We are not building roads. Is it on manpower, human capital development in the Southeast? Is that what we're identifying? Is it on markets? Is it on agriculture? Is it on manufacturing? Which area of manufacturing are we going to identify? How are we going to invest on it? We need to identify those things and do a proper audit and identify those areas and make sure that we harness our people. I believe we can do this. I believe that we can do this without government. I believe we can do it. And like he said there, if we start this, I can assure you that these governors we are talking about will come on board. And there's something you need to note down. They are not speaking in one voice. They are not together. So if the governor in party A does not agree with you, I'm sure by the 5 states that we have, one governor will want to test run what you have in mind. And from there, other ones will want to emulate you.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure, hearing from you and discussing with you tonight. My own, I'm the moderator. I haven't had much time to contribute, but I've just picked 2 things from you guys, 2 perspectives. A perspective that believes that we should start doing things by ourselves. We don't need to wait for the government. We need to come together, get like minds, and start the discussion about how do we start doing something, maybe in agriculture, in manufacturing, in IT, or creation of a hub in the Southeast. So I think that is what I'm getting from one side of the argument. Then another side of the argument is saying, and I agree with these 2 perspectives, we need to start encouraging them together as well, to come together as governors, to form a kind of like, the Southeast Development Commission has been formed, let them key into it and say, okay, like even if it is 1% of their annual budget, because investments do not exist in a vacuum, they exist in an environment. The business we want to do need link roads, they need electricity, they need telecommunication. So while the governors are coming together, form a kind of development master plan, a regional master plan, and start contributing, agree on a percentage of their annual budgets that they will be contributing. That can start solving, and they prioritize what they want to do. Maybe this year roads, the next 3 years electricity, the next 3 years another thing. They will be fighting that war on that front, and that will make it easy for those of us on this other side, the private people, to thrive. So it's been wonderful having you. I think it's been a worthwhile discussion tonight. Thank you so much. I hope to see you sometime soon, and I hope when we invite you again, you're going to come in and have your say. I think it's been wonderful speaking to you. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much.